The fourth story, Prince and Princess Gerda had to sit and rest. Near where I sat there was a large crow. The crow sat there for a long time, looked at her, shook his head and cried, and quat, "Crow! Crow! Crow! Crow!" and quat. The crow could n and #39 t say anything more clearly, but seemed to notice the girl and asked where she was going so alone. Gerda heard the words and quat, alone and quat, very clearly. She recounted her life and worries to the crow and asked the crow if she had seen Kay anywhere. The crow shook his head, thought for a moment and then replied, "Maybe, maybe." "Really?" I shouted and hugged the crow and kissed it, almost suffocating it. "Why are you so confused?" The crow said, "I think the boy I saw might be Kay. But now Kay probably likes the princess more and has forgotten her." "Is Kay staying at a princess and number 39's house?" Gerda asks. "Yes, listen here," the crow replied, "but speaking your language is too difficult. If only she knew the sound of birds, it would be great." "No, I have never learned bird language. My grandmother also knows very well. What a pity. If I took the trouble to learn from my grandmother, it would be great." "No problem," Crow said. "I will try to say it in a way that you can understand." And the crow recounted everything that the crow knew. "In this country where we are standing, there is a princess who is very wise, so wise that she has read all the newspapers published in the world, but after reading it, I forgot everything. Now she has ascended the throne and people say that she often sings the song, and quat, 'I want to get married,' and quat, with a voice that sounds like resentment and sadness. What a meaningful song! She wants to get married, but she wants to choose someone who speaks lively, not someone who only has a mature appearance." The outer shell she thought was unimportant and actually made her uncomfortable. Suddenly, one day, she forced the ladies in the court to learn drumming and they were also happy to learn that subject. They said in unison, "If it and number 39's good, it and number 39's not good." We also thought about that. Crow continued, "You can believe what I tell you. It and number 39's not like I had a girlfriend who was taken in and raised, allowed to fly freely in the palace and told me everything. Of course that girlfriend is a female crow, because male crows can only be friends with female crows. One day, in the newspapers, the portrait of the princess appeared in a heart-shaped frame and had the princess and number 39's name printed on it, clearly underlined. The newspaper clearly stated that all bright young men could enter the castle to talk to the princess. The guy who speaks naturally like at home and is the most active will marry the princess. Whoa, whoa! What a bustle! The boys rushed in, jostling each other, but for 2 days no one succeeded. On the street, everyone talks fluently, but once they pass through the castle gates, they see the guards wearing silver-plated clothes, see the servants wearing golden tassels standing on the stairs, when entering the brightly lit offices. The men became frightened and when they came before the throne, where the princess sat, they said nothing more than repeating the last word of the princess and number 39's statement. That way of responding made her not happy at all. It can be said that the guys who came to propose had inhaled too much pipe tobacco, so they were as ecstatic as people drunk on drugs. Only when they reached the street did they return to their chatter like before. They were so numerous that they had to form a long line from the doorway all the way to the castle. I was busy there watching them. They waited so long that they had to endure hunger and thirst, but at the castle they would not give them even a glass of water. Someone brought butter and bread, but didn't and hash 39 T share it with anyone. The men thought, and quote, just let them starve. They will look miserable and the princess will turn them away. End quote. But what about K? Gerda asks, is K there? Wait a minute. Now it and number 39, SK and number 39, S turn. On the morning of the third day, people suddenly saw a boy without a horse or cart, happily walking to the castle. His eyes sparkled like hers. His hair is long and beautiful, but his clothes are ugly. It and number 39, SK. Gerda happily clapped her hands and shouted. That and number 39, S right K. On his back he carried a large cloth bag. That and number 39, S not a cloth bag. That and number 39, S the sledge that fishing sled brought with him when he left. It and number 39, S possible, the crow replied, because I didn't and hash 39. T look at him very closely, but my friend told me that when he entered the castle and saw the guards wearing silver coats and went up the stairs to meet the servants wearing gold tassels, he didn't and hash 39. T notice anything. Surprised. He greeted them and said, and quote, standing on the stairs like you guys is boring. I and number 39, D rather go inside. End quote. The rooms were bright. A group of big and small mandarins walked barefoot, carrying golden trays. K and number 39, S shoes clicked, but he wasn't and hash 39. T confused at all. It and number 39, SK, Gerda said, I know he has new shoes. There was a time when he clinked those shoes in his grandmother and number 39, S house. Yes, yes, the shoes clacked. The crow said the guy went straight to the princess. She sits on a pearl as big as a spinning wheel. The royal ladies and their maids, big and small, the great mandarins and their guards and soldiers of all sizes. The strange thing is that the closer they stood to the door and the farther away from the princess they became, the more arrogant they became. A low-ranking guard, wearing slippers, raised his face with an arrogant, very unsightly look. Dozen and hash 39, T it look so disgusting? Said Gerda, but what about K? Will my friend please the princess? If I were also a crow, even if I was engaged to someone else, I would still win the princess. K would certainly be as articulate as me, even though I speak the crow language. He is very calm and very adorable. He didn't and hash 39, T come to propose, but just to see how wise the princess was. He realized that the princess was really wise and the princess also realized that he was very smart. It and number 39, S true that K is amazing. He was so good at studying that he did mental arithmetic and did word problems with 3 operations. Crow, please lead me to the castle. It and number 39, S not easy, the crow replied, how can I get in there? I and number 39, LL talk to my friend and see. Surely she will give us some trick. I also have to let you know, a child like you is never allowed in the castle. Really? If K knew I was here, he would probably come out to greet me right away. Wait for me at this kilometer post. The crow said, shook his head, then flew away. It was an and hash 39, T until evening that the crow returned and said, Crow, Crow, I bring you my friend and number 39. S greetings, and here is a small cake that she took from the kitchen to give to her. You must be very hungry. She doesn't and hash 39. T have any shoes so she can and number 39. T go to the castle. The guards and servants 1 and number 39. T let you in. But Don and number 39. T cry. Then you will be able to enter. My good friend knew a secret room that led to the bedroom and she was able to borrow the key. They went into the garden, along the main road, the fallen leaves scattered, and when the lights went out in the castle, the crow led Gerda to an open back door. Gerda was scared and impatient, her heart was pounding. She felt like she was about to do something bad, but in reality she just wanted to find Kay. Yes, it and number 39's him. I remember Kay and number 39's intelligent eyes and long hair. I felt Kay smile as if we were sitting together at home, next to the rose tree. Surely Kay will be happy to see her again, to know that she had to travel countless dirt roads to find Kay, to know how sad everyone at home is when Kay is not returned. My heart is filled with both fear and joy. They reached the stairs. There was a lamp placed on a cupboard. The crow sat on the ground. The crow turned around and looked around while Gerda bowed politely in the manner her grandmother had taught her. My fiancé spoke a lot of good things about you to me, said the female crow. Your life is so touching. Please take the lamp, I will go first. We follow this straight path and then we 1 and number 39. T meet anyone. Looks like someone is coming from behind, Gerda said. And indeed there was a hissing sound near me. Gerda caught a glimpse of a group of men and women riding slender-legged horses with flowing manes, hunting animals. Those are just the gods and number 39. Dreams, said the crow. Gerda and the crow entered the first room with red silk and artificial flowers on the wall. There were sounds of dream gods flying past and hissing, but they flew so fast that Gerda could N and hash 39. T see them. Then they entered the rooms. Every room was splendid. They entered the bedroom. The ceiling is like a large palm tree with glass leaves. In the middle of the room were 2 beds that looked exactly like 2 lilies, each placed on a golden pedestal. On a bed with white curtains, the princess is sleeping. Most likely Kay slept in the bed with red curtains next to her. Gerda opened the curtain and saw a person lying on his side with his back turned out. The skin on the back of his neck was red. Ah! That and number 39's right Kay. She exclaimed and placed the lamp next to the bed. There was the hissing sound of dream angels riding around the room. The sleeping person suddenly woke up and raised his head. Dot. Dot. It was an and hash 39. TK. The prince only resembles Kay in the nape of his neck. He looks young and lovely. From the bed with white curtains, the princess looked over and asked what happened. Gerda burst into tears, recounting all her life stories and not forgetting all the help from the pair of crows. What a pitiful girl! The prince and princess spoke in unison and told the crows that they were not angry at the crows, but they must not do that in the future. They again promised to reward both crows. The princess asks, "Do you want to be free, or do you want to accept the position of family crow and enjoy the leftovers from the kitchen?" The pair of crows bowed in response and asked to accept the position of crow in the court. They think about the future and say that when they are old, a guaranteed life is the most precious thing. The prince sat up and gave the bed to Gerda. The little girl clasped her hands and thought, and quote, "Anyway, people and animals are all kind." And quote, "After that, I closed my eyes and fell asleep." The god of dreams returned, and this time they turned into fairies pulling a sleigh, with Kay sitting and waving to Gerda. But it was just a dream, and when Gerda woke up, Kay, the cart, and the fairy were all gone. The next day, people dressed me in brocade velvet and silk, from head to toe. People kept me at the castle to enjoy the glory and wealth, but I only asked for a small carriage, a horse and a pair of small ice shoes. I want to cross the vast world to find Kay. They gave me a pair of shoes and gloves that fit very well, and when I left I saw a brand new gold-plated carriage in front of the door. The Prince and Princess and number 39's crests sparkled on the car. The coachman, servants and guards, including the guards accompanying the carriage, all wore golden helmets. The Prince and Princess put Gerda in the carriage and wished her a safe journey. The female crow, now married, saw her off on the 3-mile journey, and perched right next to her, because the crow did not want to follow the carriage. The male crow, perched on the castle gate, waved his wings in farewell. He could and #39 say goodbye because since the day he took office, he had eaten too much and had a serious headache. The inside of the car was filled with cakes, and on the seats were fruits and bread. Let and number 39's go. God bless you. The Prince and Princess cheered. Gerda cried loudly, and the female crow also cried. After walking a few miles, the crow also died. Both are extremely sad. The crow flew up to a tree branch and continued to flap its wings until it was no longer visible. Fifth story. The road robber and number 39's daughter arriving in a dark forest, the car still sparkled like embers. A group of robbers saw it and were dazzled. They shouted, "Gold! That and number 39's gold!" They rushed out, seized the horse, killed the guard, the servant, the coachman and pulled Gerda out of the carriage. "This baby is fat and healthy, great. It and number 39's as delicious as chestnut kernels." The robbers and number 39's old maid, with a long, bushy beard and eyebrows that hung down to her eyes, exclaimed, "It looks like a fat sheep. Its meat must be delicious." Saying that, she pulled out a shiny knife that looked terrible. "Aye! Aye!" At that moment, she screamed because the girl grabbed her neck and bit her ear. It looked fierce and delighted. "What a mixed family!" She scolded me and was about to anger Gerda. "Let him play with me. The child said he will give me his gloves and beautiful shirt. It will sleep with the baby." After saying that, he grabbed his mother and number 39's ear again, making her jump. The robbers laughed loudly. They said, "Look at her and her children dancing." The robbers and number 39's son said, "I want to ride a horse-drawn carriage." The robbers let him climb up with Gerda, because he was a stubborn child who was often pampered. The car drove into the forest, passing dead trees and ponds. The robbers and number 39's daughter was as big as Gerda, but stronger, with broad shoulders, brown hair, and her black eyes looked a bit sad. He hugged Gerda around the waist and said, "If I was an #39's angry with you, they wouldn't #39's dare kill you." "Surely that person is a princess?" "No," Gerda replied, recounting her life and adding that she loved a boy named Kay very much. The girl looked seriously at Gerda. It shook its head and said, "They won and number 39's Kill you over there. Only if I get angry with you, I will kill you myself." Having finished speaking, he wiped Gerda and number 39's tears and put his hands into the soft and warm bag. The car stopped. They all returned to the bandits and number 39's almost ruined castle. Crows and black crows flew out from the holes everywhere. The big mastiffs jumped up and down. Each one is strong enough to swallow a person. In a corner of the house, 7 or 8 horses were saddled, ready to go, tied around the pillars of the house. On the wall, rusted weapons and tattered robes hung haphazardly. Gerda entered, the robbers and number 39's daughter leading her by the hand. At first I could N and #39 distinguish anything and was so worried that I could N and #39 walk unsteadily. In the large smoke-filled room, a fire burned on the floor. Smoke billowed up to the ceiling and then wandered around looking for a way out. The robbers cooked soup in a pot over the fire and were roasting wild rabbits and domestic rabbits, whole. The robbers and number 39's daughter said to Gerda, "Tonight over there sleep with all my beautiful animals." After eating and drinking, they lay down in a corner of the house lined with straw. Above the bed, there are hundreds of pigeons perched on shelves and sticks. They seemed to be sleeping, but when the 2 little girls arrived, they raised their heads to look. "All the birds are mine," she said. It caught a nearby bird, grabbed its leg and shook it until the bird flapped its wings. "Kiss it!" she shouted and threw the bird at Gerda and number 39's face. "These are a pair of unruly wild pigeons," the girl continued and pointed to the iron bars blocking the mouth of a hole in the wall. "If you Don and number 39's lock them up, they and number 39's run away. And this is my baby." It spoke as it grabbed the horns of a deer with a bronze necklace tied nearby. It was an old deer with gentle eyes and was looking at the robbers and number 39's daughter as if he wanted to beg for forgiveness. The deer and number 39's hair has almost completely turned gray, and in some places all the hair has fallen out, even the skin is visible. Looking at it, one can guess that it has wandered many places and has experienced many sufferings. The robbers and number 39's daughter said again, "This animal must be tied carefully, otherwise it will slip away. Every night I tickle it with the tip of a dagger to make it panic." Saying that, the girl pulled out a dagger from a crack in the wall and stuck it into the deer and number 39's neck. The poor creature struggled, making her laugh loudly. Then they went to bed. At first Gerda lay huddled in a corner. The girl asks, her voice a bit rough, "Why are you avoiding me? Are you afraid? Come closer?" Gerda was a bit scared and asks, "Are you going to sleep with your dagger?" "Of course," replied the robbers and number 39's daughter, who knows what can happen during the night. "But come on, tell me K and number 39's story and tell me why he travels around the world like that." Gerda was engrossed in telling her story, not forgetting a single detail, so as not to have to think about the terrible place to which the disaster had led her, and while telling her past worries and sadness, she was able to temporarily forget her worries. Present. Gerda talked at length, very long. The pigeons were still cooing in the coop, but the other birds were already asleep. The robbers and number 39's daughter had one arm around Gerda and number 39's neck and the other holding a dagger, and she also slept. But Gerda could N and #39, T sleep. I wondered if they would let me live or if they would kill me. The bandits sat around the fire drinking and singing. The maid was also drunk and fell down. Gerda was scared and trembling. The pigeon said to me, "Coo! Hunchback!" We saw K. A white chicken brought him a sled, and he sat in the Snow Queen and number 39's sleigh, which drove through the forest where we had nested. The Queen breathed on us, freezing us to death. Only 2 survived. Just kid. Hunchback! Hunchback! Hey guys up there, what are you talking about? Gerda shouted, "Where has the Snow Queen gone? Do you know anything? She must have gone to Laponi, because there is snow and ice all year round. Just ask the deer tied down there and he and number 39 know. It and number 39's only ice and snow all year round. It and number 39's really nice. Nye said there you can roam freely in the spacious and shining valleys. That and number 39's where the Snow Queen sets up her tent in the summer, but her castle is far north, on the island they call Spitby." Gerda muttered, K. Stay still, the robbers and number 39's daughter threatened, otherwise I and number 39's give you a stab in the stomach right now. In the morning, Gerda told her friend what the dove said last night. The robbers and number 39's daughter became serious, shook her head and said, "What a number 39's the use of knowing that? What a number 39's the use of knowing that?" Gerda asked the deer, "Do you know where Laponi is? Who knows that place better than me?" Nye replied, "I grew up there and lived for a long time on that snow-covered land." "Is the Snow Queen near Laponi?" "I have never seen the Snow Queen, even though my hometown is covered in snow all year round and is the most beautiful country in the world." "Stop it, old fool," the robbers and number 39's daughter dismissed. "I didn't and #39 T ask you about your feelings about the land of Laponi? Shut up, or I and number 39's slit your throat." And seeing the deer shiver, the girl continued to ask, "Okay, you know the land of Laponi so well, can you guide a person there? Even if I and number 39's am blind in both eyes, I can still get there, because that place is my hometown. Just by breathing the air there I can find the direction." "Hey, over there," she said to Gerda, "all my people are gone. My mother remained, but near morning my mother drank a bottle of dad and then went to bed. I want to help you with something." He jumped out of bed, hugged his mother and number 39's neck, pulled her mustache and said, "Hello, my old goat." It and number 39's rude for a daughter to say that to her mother. But Dawn and number 39's think that she will pounce on you and give you a beating. She just laughed and gossiped a bit, then she flicked the girl and number 39's nose, making it turn purple, but that wasn't an #39 like she was punishing her, she was flicking her with love. After that, she grabbed the bottle of wine and took a sip, 2 sips. Finally, she looked around bewilderedly, then lay down and took a nap. She opened her eyes a few more times, then she snored loudly, just like she said earlier. The robbers and number 39's daughter held Gerda and number 39's hand, put the knife in her pocket, and opened the door a crack to look out to see if anyone was there. It and number 39's always better to be careful. He said that and then turned back to Gerda. "Come with me, you will be very surprised." Coming close to the deer, he said, "I also want to keep the deer here to caress it with the tip of my knife, because the deer looks bad. But okay, I will release the deer so it can run back to Laponi. But the deer must run quickly and carry this little girl to the Snow Queen and number 39's castle, where Uncle K is currently staying." Nye has heard her story clearly. Who could hear her speaking so loudly? Deer have better hearing than anyone else. The deer jumped up happily. The robbers and number 39's daughter lifted Gerda onto the deer and number 39's back and tied her up carefully. It even gave her a pillow to sit on. He and number 39's wearing fur-lined boots, which is good because it and number 39's LL be cold, but I and number 39's LL take the gloves. Besides, there and number 39's no need to be afraid of freezing your hands. These are my mother and number 39's fur-lined gloves. When you put them on, they go up to your elbows. Come on, put on your gloves. Now she looks like my ugly mother, at least in her hands." Gerda cried out of joy. "I Don and number 39's like it when you cry." She said, "You have to cheer up. This. Here and number 39's bread and a piece of ham. You won and number 39's be afraid of starving to death." Having said that, he tied those two things to the deer and number 39's back, opened the door, locked the dogs, used a knife to cut the deer and number 39's rope and said, "Run, and remember to look after the girl." Gerda held out her gloved hands to the robbers and number 39's daughter and said a few words of farewell. Deer rush into the forest, jump over bushes, tree roots, cross fields and swamps. Wolves and foxes howled, and quat, howl, howl, and quat. It sounded like a sharp sneeze in the air. Nye said, "Look. My familiar northern lights were flashing across the sky. Deer run day and night." Gerda ate all the cakes, all the ham, and finally, the deer took her to Laponi. Sixth story: The Old Woman from Laponi and the Old Woman from Finland. A small, shabby and quiet house, the roof facing down to the ground, the door so low that you have to crawl close to the ground to get in and out. In the house there was only an old Laponi woman grilling fish on a lamp made of seal fat. The deer told her Gerda and number 39's story, but before that the deer had told her all the stories, because the deer thought his story was more important. Gerda was so cold that she could N and #39 speak. "You still have to go further," and Mr. Laponi said. "You still have to travel at least 100 miles to reach Finland, where the Snow Queen lives, where every afternoon she lights a bright red torch. I will write you a few words on a dried fish, because I Don and number 39's have any paper. You will give that letter to the Finnish lady up there and she will give you clearer instructions than me." When Gerda had warmed up and finished eating, the old woman wrote a few words on the dried fish, told Gerda to be careful, tied the baby to the deer and number 39's back, and the deer continued to run. Howl, howl. There was still a howl in the air. The northern lights radiate pale blue light throughout the night throughout the sky. Nye and Gerda went to Finland and knocked on the chimney of a house without a door. It was so hot in the house that the old lady there was only wearing a thin set of clothes. The grandmother was small, her face was wrinkled. She undressed Gerda, took off her gloves and ice shoes, and placed a piece of ice on the deer and number 39's head. She read the words written on the dried fish, read them 3 times to memorize them, then threw the dried fish into the pot, because the fish was still delicious and she didn't and hash 39's waste anything. Nye told his story first, then Gerda and number 39's story. The old Finnish woman blinked her intelligent eyes, but said nothing. Nye said, "You know a lot of things. It is rumored that he can tie the 4 winds with a thread. If he gave that thread to a pilot, he would only untie 1 knot and his boat would sail smoothly. Untie the 2nd knot and the wind would blow strongly. Untie the 3rd and 4th knots and the sky would create a storm and capsize. Forests. Please give this girl some medicine. To give her the strength of 12,000 people, enough to knock down the Snow Queen." "As strong as 12,000 people?" The Finnish lady replied, "Oh, that and number 39's right. It must be that healthy." She walked towards a shelf with many compartments, took out a rolled-up dry parchment, and opened it to look at it. Sweat glistened on her forehead. The old woman read the strange words written on the parchment. The deer begged the old woman to give Gerda permission, and Gerda too cried profusely, looking at the old woman with such imploring eyes that she blinked again, dragged the deer to a corner of the house, and whispered while placing ice water. On the deer and number 39's head, it is true that little K is at the Snow Queen and number 39's house and he is very satisfied being there. This is because he was shot in the heart by a piece of the demon mirror and a piece in the eye. First of all, we need to get those mirror fragments out, otherwise he will never return to normal and the Snow Queen will still bewitch him. Think about what kind of treasure you can give little Gerda. Can that demon magic be overcome? I cannot give her any power greater than the power she already has. Dawn and number 39's, you see what she has accomplished? Didn't and hash 39's, Nye see that so many people and animals did what she wanted? We Dawn and number 39's, need to help her with the strength she already has in her heart, in her loyalty and purity. If she didn't and hash 39's, go to the Snow Queen and number 39's residence herself to get the pieces of the demon mirror in K and number 39's eyes and heart, no one would be able to do it. The Snow Queen and number 39's garden is 2 miles away. Nye can lead her there. The deer had to stop at a large bush with red berries all around covered in snow. Nye just took Gerda there, then stopped to wait for Gerda. The kind old woman placed Gerda on the deer and number 39's body, and the deer ran away very quickly. Suddenly Gerda exclaimed, "Oh no, I forgot my shoes and gloves." The freezing cold reminded her of gloves and shoes. But the deer didn't and hash 39's stop. He ran to the large bush with red berries, kissed Gerda on the lips, and tears flowed down the baby and number 39's cheeks. Gerda continued to walk alone, shoeless, gloveless, in ice-covered Finland. I tried my best to run. I met a large group of snowflakes. The snow did not fall from the sky. And at this time the northern lights were still shining. The snowflakes were flying to the ground. The closer they got, the bigger they got. Gerda suddenly remembered the day when she looked through the microscope at home and saw snowflakes bulging very large, but nothing like these snowflakes. They looked bigger, scary and just like those animals. That and number 39's the Snow Queen and number 39's midfield team. They have very strange shapes. Others look like snakes and centipedes with their heads raised, while others look like a group of big bears and cubs, their hair standing on end. All is white, all are living snowflakes. Gerda recited a prayer. It was so cold that I could see my exhaled breath. The breath rose like a cloud of smoke, becoming more and more dense and turning into fairies, first tiny, then growing larger and setting foot on the ground. All of them wore iron helmets, carried spears in one hand, and wood in the other. As time went on, the group of fairies grew larger and larger, and by the time Gerda finished praying, there was an army standing around her. They took spears and hit the snowflakes, causing them to melt into thousands of pieces. Thanks to that, Gerda could leisurely move forward. The fairies patted my legs and arms to keep me from the cold. And so I went to the Snow Queen and number 39's castle. But we also need to know how Kay is doing now. He didn't and #39 think about Gerda at all, and especially he could and #39 imagine that she had arrived outside the castle. 7th story. What happened at the Snow Queen and number 39's castle and its sequels? Thick snow fell, forming walls surrounding the castle. The doors and windows are openings, through which the north wind is howling. There are hundreds of rooms, every room has falling snow. The largest room is more than 100 miles wide. The northern lights shine everywhere. All the rooms were empty, cold and sparkling. There was never a festival here, never a dance, a concert, or a tea party. In the largest and most empty room there was a frozen lake. The lake surface was broken into thousands of pieces, but the pieces were all the same, like a work of art. The middle of the room is where the Snow Queen often resides, when she is at home. She often said that she sat on the mirror of intelligence and that it was the greatest happiness in this world. There, Kay turned dark purple from the cold, but she didn't and #39 notice it because her heart had already frozen, and she didn't and #39 know what cold was anymore. I took small pieces of tape and assembled them into all kinds of shapes and even assembled them into letters and words. I call that game A and Quat, Smart Game and Quat, which has a special importance, because I am still fascinated by the piece of demonic mirror in my eye. But I can and number 39 find the two words I want. Those are two words, eternal. The Snow Queen said, if you can arrange those two words, you will be in control of yourself. I and number 39 give you the world and a brand new pair of ski boots. Wish you success. Now we have to fly down to the hot country, to the Etna and Veduve volcanoes. I want to dye them a little white. That suits them better, with the lemon groves and vineyards growing on the mountainside. The Snow Queen left and Kay was left alone in the empty, icy room. I looked thoughtfully at the pieces of ice. I feel like I can hear my body cracking. If you just sit quietly and stiffly like that, you and number 39 probably turn into ice too. It was at that moment that Gerda walked through the big door into the castle. The wind blew like it was scratching my face. I read the evening prayer and the wind calmed down. She walked into the cold, empty large room and saw Kay. I recognized him, grabbed his neck, hugged him tightly and shouted, "Kay, my beloved Kay. So I finally found you." But Kay remained inert, stiff, and cold. Gerda burst into tears, hot tears falling on K and number 39's chest and seeping into K and number 39's heart. Tears melt ice and shatter the devil and number 39's mirror. K looked at Gerda. I sing the prayer. Roses grow in the valley where the boy Jesus is speaking to me. Suddenly K burst into tears. I cried so much that the piece of the demon mirror floated out. I recognized my girlfriend, looked passionately at Gerda and happily shouted, "Gerda! My gentle little Gerda! Where have you been all this time? As for me, why am I here?" He looked around and continued, "It and number 39's so cold here. Why is it so big and empty?" He clung tightly to Gerda, who was alternately laughing and crying with joy. That moment was so touching that even the broken pieces of ice jumped and rejoiced. When they are tired, they lie still. But oh look! Miraculously, they lay down, forming the exact two words and quat, eternity and quat. That the Snow Queen had proposed. So K was able to control himself. The Snow Queen will have to give him the world and a pair of brand new ski boots. Gerda hugged and kissed K, making K and number 39's eyes turn red like flowers. She kissed K and number 39's eyes. K and number 39's eyes sparkled like her eyes. She kissed K and number 39's limbs. K and number 39's limbs became as strong as before. The two children did not need to wait for the Snow Queen to return because those two words eternal had redeemed K and number 39's right to live freely. The two children held hands and escaped from the entire large castle. The children talked about their grandmother and the two persimmon trees planted close to the roof. Wherever you go, the wind dies down and the sun sparkles again. When they reached the bush with red berries, the deer was still waiting for them. Standing next to the deer, there was a doe, her breasts engorged with milk, nursing her cubs and kissing their muzzles. First, K and Gerda went to the Finnish woman and number 39's house. They warmed themselves and asked her how to get home. Then the two children went to the house of old lady Laponi, who made new clothes and repaired the sled for them. The deer couple followed the car all the way to the border. When they saw the first blade of grass rising from the ground, the children said goodbye to the deer couple and the old lady Laponi. The songs of the first birds they saw rang out. In the forest, young seedlings have sprouted. A horse was running, one of the two that pulled the gilded carriage. Riding on the horse was a little girl wearing a bright red hat, with a pistol in each hand pointing forward. That and number 39's, the daughter of robbers, bored with her home, planning to go to the north, and then when she doesn't and hash 39's like it there anymore, she and number 39's go somewhere else. The two babies recognized each other and were extremely happy. That person is truly a reckless child, one of a kind, said the robbers and number 39's daughter. Then seeing that over there forcing people to follow them all over the world like this, is there any benefit? Gerda slapped her friend on the cheek and asked for news about the princess and prince. They went abroad for a few days after seeing Gerda off to Laponi. Since then, no one has heard any news about them and no one knows when they will return. What about Black Crows? Gerda asks. The crow is dead, his wife mourns with a black wool tied around her leg. After her husband died, the female crow showed a lot of pity, but that was just to hide from the world. "My poor black crow. Gerda said the crow is very good to me. The crow died early because he was used to living freely outdoors and was not used to being confined within four walls." "Oh my!" The robbers and number 39. Daughter said the crow died from overeating. But okay, let and number 39's leave it at that. Tell me how you found Kay. Gerda and Kay struggled to tell the story. After listening, the robbers and number 39. Daughter held the two children and number 39's hands and said, "Okay. Congratulations, very good." He promised that, if one day he has a chance to pass through the city where you two live, he will come to visit you. Having said that, he spurred his horse on the road. Kay and Gerda held hands and walked away. It and number 39's spring now. Everywhere the trees are green and hundreds of flowers are blooming. Church bells ring. The two children recognized the high towers of the city, where they lived before. The two children went into the city, arrived in front of the house, climbed the tall stairs and entered the room. Everything was the same as before. The grandfather clock was still ticking. The needles still rotate regularly. But when they entered the house, they noticed that everyone had grown old. Roses are still blooming near the window and there are still small chairs there. Each child sits in his or her chair and holds each other and number 39's hands. As if they had just gone through a nightmare, they had forgotten the strange things in the Snow Queen and number 39's icy and desolate castle. The children and number 39's grandmother sat in the sunlight, raising her voice to read from the Bible, and quote, "If you do not become children, you will not enter the kingdom of God." And quote. Kay and Gerda looked at each other. Only then will you understand the meaning of the hymn. Roses grow in the valley where the boy Jesus is speaking to us. Now both of you have grown up, but your hearts are still children and number 39's souls. And the summer shines brightly, the summer is hot and gentle. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.